Once upon a time, in a small, dusty town surrounded by endless fields, there lived a man named Rajiv. He was not born into wealth or privilege, but he was blessed with a heart that carried more courage than most armies, and a love so deep for his family that it could move mountains. Rajiv was a father, and to him, his children were not just his responsibility, they were his world, his reason to rise every morning, and the fire that kept him going even when life tried to crush him. Rajiv's day began long before the sun painted the sky with shades of gold. While the rest of the town slept, he would lace his worn-out shoes, take a deep breath of the chilly morning air, and step into the laborious world of construction. With each brick he lifted, each stone he carried, he wasn't just building walls, he was building dreams. Dreams of an education for his daughter, dreams of a safe home for his sons, dreams of a life where his family would never have to know hunger or fear. But life was never easy. There were days when the wages were delayed, when the stormy rains flooded the tiny streets of his neighborhood, washing away not just the dirt, but also the fragile hope in people's hearts. On such days, Rajiv would return home, drenched and exhausted, yet greet his children with a smile. He knew that despair had no place in the home he nurtured. Instead, he told them stories of resilience, courage, and the quiet heroism of ordinary people. In those stories, he subtly taught them that the world could be harsh, but love and perseverance were stronger. His wife Mira often watched him with awe and a hint of worry. She knew the toll it took on him, the tired eyes, the aching back, the nights when he barely slept worrying about tomorrow. But Rajiv never allowed his struggles to burden his children. He carried it all silently, for he understood that a father's sacrifice is often invisible. The world might never notice the nights he went hungry to feed them, the extra shifts he took to pay for their school fees, or the moments he swallowed his pride to borrow from others so that no one went without. One evening, a crisis came that would test Rajiv in ways he had never imagined. His youngest son, Arav, fell critically ill. The local hospital demanded a sum that was far beyond Rajiv's monthly income. Panic rose like fire in his chest, but he did not falter. He sold the small piece of land his father had left him, borrowed money from friends, and even took loans from distant relatives. Every step was grueling, but he moved like a man possessed, not for himself, but for Arav. The hours in the hospital were long and merciless, but Rajiv never left his son's side. He whispered words of encouragement, held his hand through the pain, and promised him a future where no sickness could ever scare him again. When Arav finally smiled weakly after days of suffering, Rajiv wept quietly, for he knew that this was what a father's love could achieve. It could make the impossible possible. Life went on, and with it came new challenges. Rajiv faced job losses, betrayals, and financial crises, yet he never complained. His struggles were his shield, and he bore them with dignity so that his children could chase their dreams without fear. He attended every parent-teacher meeting, stayed awake till midnight helping with homework, and celebrated even the smallest victories of his children as if they were his personal triumphs. To outsiders, it might have seemed like ordinary parenting, but in reality, it was the culmination of years of silent battles and unspoken sacrifices. Rajiv also understood the importance of teaching his children values. He taught them humility, honesty, compassion, and courage, not through lectures, but through actions. When a neighbor fell into trouble, Rajiv helped without expecting anything in return. When a stranger needed guidance, he offered it, even if it meant extra work or inconvenience. Through this, his children learned that the world was not just a place to survive, but a place to serve and to care. As the children grew older, Rajiv's hair turned gray, his hands roughened, and his steps slowed, but his spirit remained unbroken. He was no longer just a father providing for his children. He had become a pillar, a fortress against the storms of life. And when his children finally stood on their own feet, ready to face the world, Rajiv felt a satisfaction deeper than any material wealth could offer. He had fought battles unseen, endured nights of pain, and navigated a world that was often indifferent, all for them. And in their success, in their happiness, he found the purest reward a father could ever hope for. In the end, Rajiv's story was not about wealth, fame, or recognition. It was about love so steadfast that it could endure hunger, struggle, illness, and despair. It was about a man who fought not for himself, but for the dreams of his children. A man whose life was a quiet testament to the power of sacrifice, courage, and unwavering devotion. And though no monument bore his name, the world knew him through the lives he had shaped, the hearts he had touched, and the legacy of love he left behind. Because a father, at his core, is not just a man with responsibilities. He is the shield that protects, the anchor that grounds, and the wind that lifts his children to soar beyond his own reach. And Rajiv, like countless fathers before him, embodied that truth every single day of his life.